mission trip to Haiti. Hey, my name is Autumn.
And I'm Chase Rice, and we are back from our 5-week trip in Haiti, back again. And I guess Autumn's going to fill you in on what happened when we landed.
Whenever we got to Haiti, it was really exciting because we actually hadn't had that much communication with Angie. She was the American mission director, mom, whatever you want to call her, of the orphanage. She actually recently moved there full time, and she was just getting settled in on our way there. So we had communication with her via text message from Facebook Messenger. So we actually hadn't spoke with her very much, so we didn't really know like when we were going to be picked up. She knew our hours at the airport when our plane was going to land, whatever. But so we were really excited. So we got off the airplane, we got through all the craziness, and actually in Haiti the airport's so small they just throw your baggage in the middle of a floor, and it's nothing like America. You just have to pray that no one goes and gyps your luggage. So after we finally got all of our billions of pieces, it seemed, of luggage, we started going out, and all of a sudden we just got bombarded by 3 of the oldest girls, and we found out later that Mama Angie did not let the girls know that we were coming. They just knew they were going to the airport to pick somebody up, and they had no idea. So they were extremely excited to see us. We were absolutely just spirit-filled. Oh my gosh, our hearts were just warmed, and we walked out. They just grabbed our baggage, trying to help us as much as they could, and then we got on the tap-tap and we started our journey.
And nobody else at the orphanage had any clue that we were coming in, so we got to see all the little kids just screaming and shouting. We got to meet some of the new kids that we didn't really even know were there. That was an awesome opportunity, and the way that God got to use us, we kind of had everything thrown on us at one time. After about a week, Mama Angie, she got chikungunya, which is equivalent to malaria, but you get it from mosquito bites. And what it is you get so sick, you are weak, your joints ache, you got cold sweats, you can't barely move, you got diarrhea, you're vomiting. And so since she was the one who was in charge of the whole household, she was out of commission. And then the day after, or the day before that happened, the lady Mama Vay, who cooks and everything, all 3 meals a day for the kids, she left for 3 weeks to go be with her mother 4 hours away, who was sick and on her deathbed. I mean, we pray to the Lord that He protect her. But so that put every single thing on me and Autumn. So for 3 weeks, 2.5 give or take, Mama Angie was bedridden. We had nobody to cook all the meals. So that's whenever God intervened and allowed us to step up. Allowed me to be Chef Rice for 3 meals a day for all these children.
They loved it.
It was a little stressful, but it definitely kept us, putting all of our faith in God. And then, but more than just the cooking, we had disciplining we had to do for the kids. We had to give all the kids baths. We had to clean all the dishes because all the chores went haywire whenever people started leaving and getting sick. And what else was it? Oh yeah, we had to pretty much coach. We had to do all the homeschooling because all these kids are homeschooled. So Autumn took over the math side, and I took over the kids with the Bible stories, and we got a chance and an opportunity to lead Bible stories in the morning and lead prayer for these kids who it blows you away how much they love God and actually know about God and how much English they know, whatever their dominant language is Creole.
And we actually didn't realize how much of a challenge it was going to become to just teach those children. We kind of got to be one-on-one with some of the older kids. There's one teacher there. Actually, when we first arrived, the first day, we got there Thursday in the morning/afternoon. So Friday, whenever we woke up, there's 3 teachers that was there, and she was paying them on a salary. And in Haiti, the pay that she was giving them was actually a really good amount of money.
American salary.
Yeah, definitely. And however, 2 of the teachers were a little bit younger, and they didn't really know how to react to that. They didn't really know how to react to a salary with money, income. So they were kind of like trying to take advantage of her, if you want to say.
More.
Yes. So through prayer and speaking with us, actually, she made the decision to let the 2 younger ones go, and she kept the oldest. And she was like really an experienced teacher. Her name was Miss Nicole, and she was very helpful to us. But we also got, like I was saying, we also got to have one-on-one time with the children. while we were teaching it, and you don't realize how much of a challenge it is until you are one-on-one with those kids. So while Miss Nicole was with the younger children, there's 6 of the younger children. We were with the older ones, and so Chase was with Franzi and Kathleen, which are brother and sister, and he was helping them with their math actually. And then I was upstairs with 3 of the older girls, and you really learn so much from these girls. I mean, literally, I was thrown a textbook. It was an American, but I was thrown this math textbook, and you don't realize how much you forget from school until you have to teach out of foreign countries.
We're never going to need to know this.
And yes, yes.
That's all Haiti would be.
God definitely has a sense of humor, but it was a huge experience, just me personally, to teach to those children. But they're very receptive, very respectful, and they're just like us in America. Though they don't want to do homework, they don't want to listen in school, but they do it anyways because they know that God has provided for them schooling, and they want to honor God. And I mean, they have huge plans. Some of the older girls want to be doctors. What else? A teacher. A pilot. All these incredible dreams and goals that they set for themselves, and they are definitely 100% people and children that I know, if they stick to their dreams, they can definitely achieve it with God.
The education that we take for granted so many times, that it made us want to get back in school. Like right as soon as we got back, we're making all these plans, and God's intervening with that. So that's awesome. Also, one thing I wanted to add to about Mama Angie getting chikungunya blew me away. I walked in to go check on her like the 2nd or 3rd day, and she was bedridden, she couldn't eat nothing, and we always go check on her every few hours, take her water, anything that she needs. And I walked in there, and I had to fight through a crowd of kids. I was downstairs cleaning, and I started hearing really loud prayer and kids screaming and singing. I was like, what is going on there? They're having a party in Angie's room. So I ran up there, and every one of these kids are just bombarding her in the bed. They got a cold wet towel on her head, and they are just praying and singing at the top of their lungs over her. And actually, I got a picture of it just because it just really, really tugged on my heart. And I was like, wow, what if, like, whenever we were sick as kids, we had people run into our room and pray over us, and even our parents, this isn't even their blood mother, and they're treating her like a queen, and because they know she's a godsend, and that was just amazing. And then the prayer from the first night we got there, they have revival prayer. They said, hey, do you pray before you go to bed? And I was like, yeah. It's like, you want to come pray with us? I was like, yeah. We go in there not knowing what we're going to expect. We figure somebody's just going to lead prayer and we're going to go to bed. No, they start worshiping. We had a revival prayer night after night, and I'm talking about you get chills just walking in there because you're already excited. And you got to the point where you weren't even like listening to the actual prayer. You were just like bombarded with all the different emotions from who's praying for who and who's praying for what, and then you hear your name get thrown in there, and you start realizing that they're praying individually for each person in that house, and each person prays. They pray. They have this singing. They all singing in one mind and one accord. One kid's praying out loud, and then when that person, it's like handing off the baton. They pass it off to somebody else, and they just start praying as loud as they can for everybody. And it was just amazing. Just that first night changed my whole outlook on prayer. It was amazing.
And so many times, like here in America, you know that you're planting a seed, but you don't always get to see that seed, the tree be planted, basically. You know that you've planted that seed, and that here in America, when you outreach to somebody. But it was really exciting for us, knowing that, no glory to us whatsoever, but knowing that these children are understanding about God. They pray, they love Jesus, everything they do, they pray before their meals, and it's not like they pray just to pray, they pray because they're genuinely thankful. And it's so incredible to see this whole orphanage just turn to Jesus in times of need and hard times. It was really incredible to see the seed grow.
It also really got me one night whenever I was just walking to the kitchen to get some water, and one of the kids turned around. He said, "Chase, do you love me?" I just kind of broke down. I was like, "Yeah, I love you, man. Why would I not love you?" But I just started to realize these kids, just a simple "I love you" from our parents that we just take for granted. We're like, "Yeah, I love you too." That really just sunk in because I myself just take it for granted because I'm so loved, and it's an amazing feeling, and that's what we go over there to do, is to teach these kids and lead these kids and to love these kids and love on these kids. And they just ask you, do you love me? Because they don't get to hear that all the time. And you're like, yeah, I love you. I can only imagine how much just me saying, yeah, I love you, meant to that kid. So that in itself was awesome.
A really special moment for me that I was just playing by in my head. It just almost brings me to tears. At night, something I absolutely loved more than anything was helping the boys take a bath, the younger boys. There's 3 of them, Watson, Morrison, and Machialis. These little boys are shot out. Oh my gosh, they're the sweetest kids in the whole entire universe. And Franzi, he was just it was just a little sad story, and Chase will get more in detail about that, but he's one of the older boys, and he used to give the boys a bath, and it used to be a boy bath time, but then Mama Angie asked me if I would take over that and give the little boys a bath, and it sounds crazy, but it was probably the best and most, the funniest part of my whole day. They would jump in that water, and all 3 of them would get in the bath, and of course we were very scarce on electricity, so half the time I had his phone, my phone, plus our little head flashlight in there. And it sounds disgusting, but it smelled terrible because it's the boys' bathroom and they don't take care of it. And of course, we don't have water, so they can't flush the toilet. But in spite of all the nastiness and the poverty that was just in that bathroom, I just loved it. The boys had a
Constant
blast.
smile on their face.
Screaming, laughing. It was the best part of my day, literally. Just the joy that they had was such a simple thing, and you definitely do not realize how much stuff we take for granted here, as in water. And we were actually out of water. This is very brief for a big story, but we were out of water for so long, and you don't realize how needy how needy we are of water. But one night after the boys one night after the boys, I gave the boys a bath, and really they're independent. I didn't give them a bath. They're very independent. I was just a supervisor kind of, to keep them in line, not to jump out of the bathtub and fly in the bathroom. But I came out and I was going into my room and getting settled to go take a shower, and the boys' room was right across from mine, or from where we put our luggage, not really our bedrooms, but I put my mattress in front of my door. So every morning they come and peek over and look at me, but that night, oh, it was so sweet. Morrison, he is just a special little boy in my heart. All of them are, but him and I just had this special bond, and he's on the top bunk in his room, and the boys actually have 2 bunk beds, and anyways, their door is literally directly across from us. So I was going to take a shower, and as I walked by, I walked back in, and we had no electricity, and Morrison, I heard him, he said, "Autumn, you're so beautiful," and it hit me so hard. I was like, "You are so sweet, Morrison. Thank you so much." And he said, "I love you. Good night." It was the sweetest thing of my whole life. And I went and told Chase, and I just cried, just with such a happy heart, because knowing that they love us, they genuinely love us, and knowing that we love them back, and just every day them finding security in us, and some of the little kids, and of course we're telling you great things that happen, but also equally there was some tough times that we had to go through, and there's a huge Satanistic thing that was going on in the house while we were there, and Chase had to take care of it as a man, and some of the kids, just some things that they were going through, they actually had to cling to Chase because they realized that he was a man, and he was I don't want to say father figure because they genuinely care about Jesus as their father, but he was a man and a safety tower for those children as a physical man, and it was just incredible to see the clingingness that they did and the safety that they found and they put in us, because we are just 2 people, and Mama Angie is just one person, and Poppy Chris, her husband, is just one person, but knowing that they trust us because we have God within us is the best feeling in the world, and I give God all the credit and glory for that. So while we were in Haiti, we actually had a lot of spiritual battles. We don't want to turn people off, because I absolutely want everybody to come join me in Haiti, because it's something that I plan to do for many years in my future. But however, there is hard times that we have to go through, and I've shared times from personal trips that I went on by myself where it's hard. It is a foreign country. There is crime. There is really bad things that happen. The safety is a hard thing. You have to be aware of your surroundings constantly. So while we were there, we faced many spiritual battles. Actually, our faith was tested daily. After the first few weeks. So anyways, we were really thankful that we had Jesus in our hearts, because we were prepared for this trip and we were prepared for what the Lord had planned for us. And we actually realized the hard way, but in a very spiritual and humbling way while we were there. And although it's really hard and deep, and it's really like bringing a knot in my throat right now, but I'm thankful that even through the trials in a foreign country where you have literally nothing, you're barely eating, you're like skin and bone at one point. We had comments from people at church about us being so skinny. They're like, we gotta feed them. But literally, God is with us through everything, through every spiritual battle we face. At the end of the, well, sometimes not at the end of the night, but joy does come in the morning, and that's a promise from the scripture that I definitely hold dear to my heart, and you definitely see while you're there. So I give God glory again for everything and everything He brought us from with the spiritual battles.
We did cleaning. We did deep cleaning for dishes. We did deep cleaning on floors, bathtubs, bathrooms, burning all the trash. You know, little busy work stuff like that. You know, that the kids weren't old enough and disciplined enough to, you know, do on their own, but they were so genuine and so open to help anytime you asked them. So it was awesome having having the little helpers, and we had the opportunity to get, you know, teach them little things. And whenever Mom Angie and them went to the market and stuff, we stayed back with them, and we went out of our way to hurry up and get this little stuff, little knickknacks cleaned up and toys straightened up and stuff, so it'd be spotless when they got back. So that was awesome in itself. We had the opportunity to coach. We got to teach them how to play basketball. I got to teach them how to play baseball, and they already knew how to play soccer or football, however they say it. But basketball was awesome, you know, getting to just coach them and teach them, you know, how much a point counted as. They thought it was just 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 2, 4, 6, 8. And we didn't have a whole lot of room. We had a makeshift basketball goal. We had it screwed into a tree and no backboard, so if it hit the tree, it was out of bounds. It was just amazing. It started out with just 2 of us. It ended up being, we had 4-on-4 games almost every night. And then we busted out the baseball bat, and they just, the only concept they knew was to swing and hit the ball. Then we had taught them how to do bases, and it was just fun. They got some pictures of us when we were playing. We didn't even know Angie was snagging pictures. It was just hilarious, the stuff that we got to do with them. It was also real sweet. A lot of the kids had wet their bed the same night, so we sent them out there to clean their own sheets. And they started singing this song. I was like, that sounds really familiar. And I was like, that's the song we've been teaching them in our little, what was it called? What would you consider that, nursery rhyme thing?
I have decided to follow Jesus.
Yeah. And they were like, I have decided to follow Jesus. And like, we started getting more vivid in the words and teaching them what the word was, because, oh man, what was that one that Kathleen kept singing? I'm sorry, baby. Oh man.
If we are the body by casting crowns.
Oh no, what was that one? Every step I take. That one. They would go around singing, every take I take in you. And it was just hilarious, because they knew it was a godly song. They knew it was praising to God. So whether they said the word right or wrong, whether they knew the meaning, they sang it at the top of their lungs the best they could. And that tugged on our heart big time. Got to fix the little toys and scooters for the kids, because you realize, you think that they don't respect anything. You think that they just tear up stuff, which they kind of do, but you realize that they see stuff as temporary. So many things in their life are temporary. It can just be taken from them like that. So they get the most use out of everything that they have. And to us, we're like, you tear it up, you ain't getting no more. But to them, you know, they tear it up. They enjoyed it. They enjoyed it so much, and got to do a lot of the heavy lifting. They have what you have to do is you have to go out to a little, kind of like a well cistern in the backyard. That a big truck comes whenever it's empty and fills it up for you. And you got to throw a 5-gallon bucket with a rope down into it, pull it out, and then you got to fill out another 5-gallon bucket. And then whenever we have electricity, there's a cistern on the roof that's gravity fed for all the showers and water right through the house. So whenever there's no electricity, it's gravity fed, so you can have like a gravity fed shower and stuff like that. But whenever we didn't have water in the cistern, we didn't have electricity for days at a time, then you'd have to take a bucket bath, what we call it a bucket bath. You get like a cup I'd have to take the 5-gallon bucket up to the top so everybody could scoop it in there and, you know, just take a cup bucket shower. And you don't realize how much you appreciate not only hot water but running water. We sit there and just sit in the shower there, what they call a Haitian shower. You turn it on, get wet, turn it off, because you try to conserve as much water. And it was just having to use your cell phone for the light, and you really start soaking it up. I think we almost cried whenever we took our first shower when we got back, because we were like, oh my goodness, just running water. You didn't have to bring it upstairs. You didn't have to wait for it to pump. One thing that was really tough on us, another reason why we really knew we were there was I was pretty much the only man at the orphanage, and I felt like it was my duty to make sure everybody was safe and could go to lay their head down at night and not have to worry about anything. Other than one night the girls came up screaming and I ran down there with my knife and flashlight, and it turned out it was a cat. And they're scared of cats because down there they hear that cats are voodoo, so they think it's a voodoo cat. They think it's like an evil cat coming in there to do stuff for them. So I went down there scared. I was like, so they went around laughing at me because I kept hissing at the cat, trying to scare it. But it went out of the house. So that was the biggest patrol issue I had, thank God. But every night I do lock up. I make sure everything was locked up, all the doors are closed. I do a little walkthrough with no light, so if anybody was around there, they couldn't see me. So I let my eyes adjust and walk around without telling anybody about it. One night I got the opportunity to scare the bejesus out of the kids. One of the girls peed her pants because I scared her so bad. They were taking the leftover food out to the chicken pen, and they just dropped the food where they were. It was midair, just dropped it and ran. Peed their pants. It was so funny. But it was a blessing being able to just look out for those. You don't realize how much you can care about somebody, even though they're not blood family. They're brothers and sisters in Christ, and they're children, you know, in Christ, and they look up to you more than you ever know. Little sayings that we say that they pick up and start saying it, and like just run up and hug you. And the fact that they know that they can just come up to us for comfort, come up to us to hug. They cling to you. And we found out a little while later, more or less, why they were clinging to us so much. But it was a blessing getting to be part of all that. Night times after prayer, some of the older kids, I brought a deck of cards, and you don't realize how much a deck of cards means until you get involved. They were teaching us games we never knew existed. So simple, but so competitive. They try to cheat, but we catch them. But it was just a blessing just getting to have a bond with them. I think one night we sat out there, and they only understand a little bit of English, but I think we had a full conversation with them for like 2 hours, getting to know them, like their aspirations, what they wanted to do, what they wanted to get out of school, and they wanted to go to America, and you know, some of them wanted to find them a white man, eventually get married. I thought that was so funny. And they love my beard. They call it, it's a babe. They call it a babe, and I try to tell them beard. They were telling me, they were saying women's names that had beards. And there they kept asking Autumn like why she had no hair under her arms and on her legs. Because they looked at mine like, whoa, you have a lot. And I was like, yeah. And I was telling like in America, you know, the women, they shave their legs and stuff, and they didn't understand that concept. But it was just really sweet. Like our differences really brought us together, and how we could just laugh at the little things that people judge you for, you know, back home. And it really just stood out to me, the difference from whenever we went our first time and how far we've come and how many changes we've made. The first time we went there, not knowing what we were thinking and not knowing our reason for going. And then this time when we went, we knew that if we would have went a day later or left a day sooner, that it would have been completely different. You know, God needed us there. There was 2 or 3 times we were calling, asking our whole church for prayer, and it was really vital. There was a missionary called Mama Angie from a whole nother city, and he was like, look, he didn't know nothing was going on in the house. We were having the devil was knocking on our door. We had a really, really intense spiritual battle, and he said, I don't know what's going on with you. He said, but Satan's coming at you full force. He said, stay ready and stay prayed up. And after that night, and even a few nights before that, for at least a week, I had to sleep with my knife by my bed. You know, anytime I'd hear a sound, you know, I slept on the roof, so anytime I'd hear a sound, or hear somebody like making a noise, I'd run down and check on it, and it was just an eerie type of quiet. It was so quiet, and it was so dark some of those nights, and it's just amazing how you can lay your head down in a country that dangerous and having to look over your shoulder when you sleep, and you can still have the peace of God and be able to get a full night's rest regardless of all that. And also what stood out to me is going to sleep to and waking up to Muslim prayer out of a loudspeaker. You know, how open and full throttle these people were for the wrong religions, and how us as Christians now, we can just sit in our church pew and just sit there while everybody else prays and worships. And these people are, you know, they pour their heart out for all the wrong stuff, but they're screaming at the top of their lungs, chanting, and they're blaring prayer over a loudspeaker. And I mean, how many times have we had the chance to be so bold and courageous in our walk with God and in our relationship with Christ and in our faith, that we just ball up into a shell? And it really just changed my whole perspective of how I praise, how I worship, and how I see God, and how I try to run for God. And it was life changing.
She sits trying to fade into the faces. The girls teasing laughter is killing farther than they know.
Now,
Farther than they know.
Listen now.
Gonna be everybody. Gonna love you so sweet dream. Gonna love you so
You gotta hold my hand.
Hey, Adam. Adam, call me Adam. Call me Adam. Nalaman sa mukha ko na ito mo eh. Dito ka ito mo eh. Let the church say amen. God, I spoke. Let the church say amen. Oh, we let the church say amen. Let the church say amen. God has spoken. Let the church say amen. L'Église dit amen. L'Église dit amen. Bon Dieu parle. L'Église dit amen. Hier, yo joindre. Amen. N'importe qui dit amen. L'église en offre la main. Amen. Amen. Si ouais, on fait un problème. Amen. Si ouais, c'est pas fini. Amen. On sera des victoires. Amen. Non, Valéa. Amen. Non, Thomas. Amen. Amen. Oui, Valérie. Amen. Yo, yo, j'ai une réponse. Amen. 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 Si ouais, on a un problème. Amen. Si ouais, c'est pas fini. Amen.
Little hands, shoeless feet, lonely eyes looking back at me. Will we leave behind the innocent to grieve? On their own, on the run, when their lives have only begun. These could be our daughters and our sons. And just like a drum, I can hear their hearts beating. I know my God won't let them be defeated. Every child has a dream to be